What I'm going to summarize are the last two paragraphs of section 5. And what they do is remind us that we are God's creation. These last two paragraphs tell us that our only true power comes from recognizing the atonement, or the oneness, or the acknowledgement and the acceptance that nothing is separate from the divine. Without exception, that is true. This means the divine is in everything and everyone, no matter what it looks like. It means that our avenue for creation comes from joining with God and creating like God. This means extending love in whatever we create. It means joining with the frequency of love as we decide what to do next. As the Course tells us, it means I gladly take the second place to know the first. So I stand back and let the atonement, at-one-ment, God, let everything arise, and then I do what I need to do. Paragraph 15 in sentence 3 of this final section says, only the complete can think completely. Only the complete can think completely, and the thinking of God lacks nothing. This is about as non-dual as you can get. Right? The thinking of God lacks nothing. And if I think with God, my thinking lacks nothing. Therefore, I do not dismiss anything. I don't look at guilt as something to attach to. I don't judge, because it's all arising as God in God. So everything you think that is not through the Holy Spirit, the whole I Spirit, is lacking. If you're like me, you're thinking, okay, what does this mean to think through the Holy Spirit? How do I think through the Holy Spirit? And at its most basic level, this means get out of the way. It allows all things. So we just heard that our only true power comes from atonement, or at-one-ment, or seeing the divine in everything. And this means that the divine is in death, it's in decay, it's even in apparent division and separation. It's in the beautiful and the ugly. It's in the flower and the passing of the flower as it turns into a bud, right? Or into a seed. You are the indivisible eternal. So the atonement, thinking like the Holy Spirit, means living through the whole movie as one mind in which it all arises, right? Living through the movie as the one mind. And if you live it as a character in a movie, you will suffer. So if you make it personal, if you make the movie personal, you will suffer. So here I'm going to ask you just to look at paragraph 16 on page 213, because this leads us right into the next chapter. And paragraph 16 says, how can you who are so holy suffer? It just said that if you live through the Holy Spirit, that means you live through the whole movie as the movie with one mind. And then it asks, how can you who are so holy suffer? All your past except its beauty is gone, and nothing is left but a blessing. What does this mean? It means God is love, God is beauty, and God is all eternal, not in time. So when the idea of time is gone, only the beautiful can remain, because that's what God is. And then it says, so knowing this, you can depart in peace. Knowing this, you can go on, you can move on into the next step, whatever the movie has for you, whatever life has for you. You can move on and depart in peace, because I have loved you as I love myself. And why? Because we are itself. Right? So you go with my blessing, and for my blessing, hold it and share it, that it may always be true. Hold it and share it, that it may always be ours. I place the peace of God in your heart and in your hands to hold and share. The heart is pure to hold it, and the hands are strong to give it. We cannot lose. It doesn't say you cannot lose. It doesn't say I cannot lose. It says we cannot lose. Right? And then the last sentence, the thoughts of God are with you. This is actually not as clear as it could be, because the thoughts of God are you. You are the thoughts of God. So that could be a little bit more clear, right? You are the thoughts of God. Every thought you have arises in God's being. But the ego doesn't want us to know that. And so we move into section 6, the ego's use of guilt. And this tells us in this section, we're going to get into it and start reading, but it tells us that the logic of the ego is and quote unquote, as impeccable as that of the Holy Spirit. And what this means, the use of the term impeccable doesn't mean, it means it's just as logical. It doesn't mean that it's as good or as true. It just means it's just as logical as the Holy Spirit's, that its thought system seems to be self-reinforcing. The ego's thought system seems to be self-reinforcing. But the ego's thought system is really easily undone the instant we see it for what it is and choose another way. And we can only do this in the holy instant, in the now, right? It's the aha moment. Aha. It's the moment of inspiration. So let's get to know the ego as much as we can, because in seeing the ego in all its manifestations, we can be free of it. So the ego is to be known. It's to be seen clearly, not feared. Sometimes the Course presents the ego as this entity that has taken over your mind, but that is not the way to read it. It's get to know your ego. The ego has arisen in God, right? It's not apart from God. So let's get to know it, and we'll look at how the ego uses guilt to reinforce itself.